let's get right into it. We're going to break down why we all get stuck in that loop, making the same mistakes over and over. And more importantly, we're going to look at how our own brains are kind of wired to make us do it.
Ugh, you know the feeling. That little pit in your stomach, that wave of frustration when you realize you did it again. Whether it's overeating, snapping at someone you love, or just buying another thing you don't need. Yeah, that feeling. It's universal, and we're about to figure out what's really going on.
And look, we're not talking about some huge character flaw here. We're talking about these little everyday patterns, right? These habits that almost seem to have a mind of their own, that just undermine our best intentions. It turns out these little cycles of self-sabotage are incredibly common.
So who's the bad guy in this story? Well, let's meet our first culprit. And it's the simple fact that our brains are built to be efficient. They're kind of lazy. And they absolutely love taking shortcuts.
Now, these shortcuts have a name, heuristics. Just think of them as your brain's autopilot. They're super helpful, right? They help you make thousands of small decisions every single day without completely burning out. But here's the catch. Sometimes that autopilot is programmed with the wrong destination. And this is where it gets really sticky. Every single time you repeat a mistake, you're doing more than just making one bad choice. You're actually carving a deeper path in your brain. Your brain, trying to be efficient, just starts to think, oh, okay, this is just what we do in the situation. And just like that, the mistake becomes the default setting. And to make it even worse, our lazy brain actively tries to protect these bad habits. It's called confirmation bias. It means we literally filter reality. We actively look for evidence that proves we're right, and we conveniently ignore anything that suggests we might be wrong. This makes it so hard to learn from our mistakes because our brain is literally hiding the proof from us. Okay, so that's culprit number one. Let's move on to our second one. And trust me, this is a big one. It's all about that moment when raw, pure emotion completely hijacks your rational mind. I love this idea of the toddler brain. It's just the perfect way to picture it. When you're stressed or overwhelmed, this part of you just takes the wheel. It doesn't care about consequences. It just feels and reacts. It wants what it wants, and it wants it right now. Just like a toddler throwing a tantrum for a cookie. So there's actually a scientific name for this toddler tantrum. It's called an amygdala hijack. This is when the emotional alarm system of your brain, the amygdala, senses a threat. And it doesn't matter if it's a real threat, like a bear, or a perceived one, like a stressful email from your boss. It pulls the same alarm bell. And this right here shows you the battle that's going on inside your head. The amygdala is fast. It's primal. It screams danger and floods your whole system with stress hormones. At the exact same time, your rational brain, the frontal lobes, the part that's good at planning and making smart choices, it gets completely shut down. The amygdala basically cuts the phone line to the CEO's office. And I'm willing to bet you have felt this before. It's not just in your head, right? It's a full body experience. It comes with some very real, very physical symptoms that you can probably recognize. The second those stress hormones, we're talking cortisol and adrenaline, hit your bloodstream, bam, your heart starts pounding, your palms get sweaty, blood rushes to your arms and legs. Your body is physically preparing to either fight a predator or run for your life, even if the predator is just a frustrating conversation. So we've got the lazy brain and the panicked brain. But there's a third culprit in our lineup, and this one is a master storyteller. It's the part of our brain that's brilliant at justifying our mistakes after we've already made them. And that brings us to this huge concept, cognitive dissonance. See, our brains absolutely hate being conflicted. It feels yucky. It creates this mental static when our actions don't match up with our beliefs. Like when you think, I believe in being a healthy person, but your action is, I just ate 3 donuts. That conflict feels really uncomfortable. The old fable of the fox and the grapes is the perfect way to understand this. The fox wants the grapes, but he can't reach them. That's a conflict. So to make himself feel better, he doesn't try harder. No, he just changes his belief. He tells himself, you know what, those grapes were probably sour anyway. I never really wanted them. He rationalizes away the discomfort. So let's bring it back to you. Let's use that donut example. Your belief is, I'm on a diet. Your action is, I am eating this delicious donut. That creates that cognitive dissonance, that mental itch. Your brain has to do something to make that feeling go away. So what does it do? Well, it has 4 main tricks up its sleeve. Number 1 is the honest, but also the hardest one. You actually change your behavior. You put the donut down, but let's be real, the other 3 are way easier. You can justify it by changing your belief. Hey, a cheat day is totally fine. You can add a new belief. It's okay, I'll just go to the gym longer tomorrow. Or, and this one is the most creative, you can just deny reality altogether. You know what? This donut isn't even that unhealthy. All of these make you feel better right now, but they totally pave the way for you to do it again next time.
Okay, we've met the lazy brain, the panicked brain, and the storyteller brain. It sounds a little bleak, I know, but the good news is we're not stuck. We can absolutely do something about it. So let's get into the practical stuff, your toolkit for actually breaking the cycle.
Now, get ready for this, because the very first step is probably the opposite of what you'd expect. That big, dramatic promise we all make to ourselves. That's it, I'm never, ever doing that again. Well, it turns out that's actually the worst thing you can do. It just sets you up for failure. So instead, here's the game plan. Step 1, and this is wild, you have to assume you're going to make the mistake again. This isn't about being negative, it's about being strategic. It takes the pressure of perfection off the table. Step 2, prevention. Figure out your triggers. If you always binge eat when you're stressed, the strategy is to find a better way to handle stress. Step 3, minimize the damage. So if prevention fails, what's your backup plan? How can you make the mistake a little less bad? And finally, step 4, understand those tiny little choices, these seemingly irrelevant decisions that set the whole thing in motion, like just deciding to walk down the cookie aisle in the first place. And the whole point here is that this isn't about willpower. Willpower runs out. As psychologist Alice Boyes points out, real success comes from actively thinking and problem solving. It's about being a strategist, not just trying to muscle your way through it. It actually takes real mental energy. And that's really the big takeaway for how to fix this. The goal is not to become perfect overnight. It's just about gradual improvement. It's about approaching your own behavior like a curious detective, not a harsh judge. When you can look at your own patterns with curiosity instead of criticism, that's when you can actually start to make a change. So there you have it. You've met the 3 main characters running the show inside your head. The lazy one that loves shortcuts, the panicked one that hits the alarm button, and the storyteller that cleans up the mess. The real power comes from knowing they exist. So the question for you isn't how to get rid of them. It's which one are you going to get to know and learn to outsmart first.